It's Mad Dog backstage here at day 3 of Route 91 Harvest Festival.
Route 91 Country Festival. Working. Yeehaw!
My sister and I have been going every single year. It's become our favorite tradition to do. Like, we planned back in April for this.
We're at honky tonk time.
It's Sunday fun day.
Yes, it is.
My wife and I were celebrating our 18-year anniversary.
Yeah, you get a hot dog or corn dog.
They had good food. It was really fun.
Everybody was having a good time. We had just gotten one of those really good, like, freshly made pretzels.
Give me a hot dog. Come on, Jenny. We're going on break. We're going on lunch. We'll be here until 12 midnight.
We got the man, Luke Combs, in the building.
What's up? How we doing?
Oh, man, how you doing?
I'm good, man. Hanging in there.
How's Vegas treating you so far?
Oh, I hadn't been here too long, so good so far.
So far.
Beautiful Vegas night. Beautiful people, smiling, dancing.
Sitting down with the band right now, Big and Rich.
What's up,
John Rich, Big Kenny. Tonight, 6:35, main stage here at Route 91 Harvest Festival. You better be here.
Let's sing it together.
Because the party is coming, baby.
Sing God bless America.
We stood up there on the stage at Route 91. The whole crowd singing God Bless America. With the phones up and the lights on. And, you saw one of the most powerful moments of American unity that you can possibly see.
Sing it now, say it. God bless America, my home sweet home.
And it was a phenomenal time. Smiling faces, everybody was singing the words.
Jake Owen was performing. He was just getting ready to wrap up. As he wrapped up, there was some time in between his set and Jason Aldean's set.
I was working as an usher there in the VIP.
We were just having fun. Jason Aldean is probably one of my favorite, like, artists, period. And so I was super excited. We wanted to get closer.
As soon as he stepped out on stage, everybody started singing and dancing.
I was dancing with them, just happy with them.
Jason Aldean came on stage at about 9:40. I stood there for about 2 or 3 songs.
God, it was just, we were having fun. Jason Aldean, I know, like, most of his songs, so I was just jamming out.
It was like another concert, right? I mean, he's starting out, everything is good, everybody's coming off of a big high with the previous band, and everything is going well, and the fireworks started.
The first shot rang out.
And we hear pop, pop, pop.
Yes, you heard I was put on to the metal.
Jason was still playing, and he looked up at the sound system, and I hit Brian on the arm. I'm like, I think the PA just went out.
I thought maybe he was going to have fireworks part of his show, and maybe they didn't go off right.
Firecrackers.
That sounds like a firecracker. Who the hell would have a firecracker here?
Some idiot is trying to get some attention.
I knew it wasn't pyrotechnics. It was part of the briefing. They had said that there was no pyro in this show.
All right, what y'all say we pick it back up just a little bit?
And then, Jason Aldean left the stage, and then it got quite hectic after that.
He ran on stage.
Then the screen went black, and everybody thought that it was technical difficulties on stage. It's quiet. Nobody understood what it was.
Relax. I'm relaxed. I'm relaxed. Why did it take more time?
We were all standing there, and all of a sudden we heard. I flew back. and I was like twitching, and I was screaming in pain.
We're being under attack.
And then somebody started yelling, you know, somebody's shooting, somebody's shooting.
Everybody finally realized that it was shots were going off.
And we all just dropped down on the ground.
I was just trying to get as low as I could to the ground, because that's hard to do too. Because of course being overdue and big old belly.
It had a smell when it hit something, a metal thing. It smelled like burnt wires or something burning there. You could smell the smell in the air.
But it wasn't hard to figure out what it really was.
And then people all around us just started dropping to the ground.
Everybody was just panicking and running, and I was, for the most part, I remember like everybody freaking out, and I was just trying to focus on my breathing.
And looking to the left and to the right, I could see people dropping, being shot. And I can recall one woman that was shot in her shoulder.
So there was a guy that got shot in the head. Jake just kept telling me, don't look, because he was really bad.
Stick together, I got you, girl. Don't worry about your phone, stick in your pocket.
And as soon as I got within 3 feet of her, I just stepped in a pool of blood.
You're good. Tell you there.
And it was at that moment I knew that it was real.
We started looking around. I saw some officers in that group. They went and put their hands on their weapons, getting ready to draw them.
Hey, you guys, get down! Go that way! Get out of here, there's gunshots coming from over there, go that way!
And then we heard that first long volley. I was right behind him when that started. There's a short cinder block wall that divides the sidewalk from the street. And so I ducked, I got low at that point.
He would empty his magazine and then he'd pause for a bit, reload, and then empty it, pop.
1692 means we got shots fired 4:15 at the Route 291. Sounded like an automatic firearm.
I have a police radio.
Automatic fire. Fully automatic fire from an elevated position. Take cover.
I heard the words automatic gunfire.
Shots fired from Mandalay Bay. There's many people down. Stage left. Just be advised.
I heard country music concert.
We have an active shooter. We have an active shooter inside the whereabouts.
We had a Metro officer, and I saw him looking down at his radio. And so I asked him, and I said, hey, is this for real? And he goes, yeah, man.
Somebody in the CP, can you tell me where it's coming from? We're headed from Mandalay Bay. Somewhere at Mandalay Bay.
Call the police. Someone's firing a gun up here. Someone's firing a rifle on the 32nd floor down the hallway. Copy. Hey, it's on 32. Steven, get out of the way. Steven, make sure you're out of the way. Copy.
My sergeant sent me a text saying that there was an active shooter at the Mandalay Bay.
Stay calm. Just relax. We're trying to get this set up. Okay, just stay calm.
And then I remembered, well, Charlie, he's in that area. I wonder if he knows what's going on.
We have multiple victims shot fired right at the medical tent. We got one shot in the head.
It seemed like I blinked and just the whole tent was full of people, you know, bleeding, screaming, you know, help me, help me.
we kept hearing shots, so we began ducking behind the police vehicles at that point.
Get back! Get back!
We're running past bodies. There are people pulling their friends, and they're screaming and crying and pulling their friends into cover. And I'm running past them, but I'm pulling them. I'm like, have a bunch of people that I'm trying to get to safety.
We need to stop the shooter before we have more victims.
My mom is turning pale, and her eyes are rolling in the back of her head, and I'm sitting there watching her, and I mean, that was just horrifying. Everybody's crying, everybody's screaming. And retired firefighter came over to us and he said, if you want to live, you need to get out of here right now. And we refused. We said we weren't going to leave our mom, and he said, you will die if you stay here. He goes, I will stay here. I'm trained for this. I will stay here with your mother.
You're good. Kelly there?
He kept carrying me, and we kept having to drop because we kept hearing rounds.
I literally was working on my knees at that point, just kind of going from patient to patient. Bystanders were in such distraught, asking me what they could do.
Seeing that, I kneeled down in the puddle of blood, and I took the shirt of one of her friends and I pulled it tight around her arm just to stop the bleeding that was just, it was gushing out.
That whole moment's it's a blur. There was a kid in his young 20s, and I watched him change color. I would say that I trained to watch people change color, and so it wasn't as hard for me. But even in that instant, it was hard to know that he wasn't going to go home.
We worked side by side to triage the first girl that I worked on. She was the one that had a through and through in her leg, and we stopped the bleeding and got an IV in and everything before she went off.
We're making tourniquets out of blankets, but I'm running out of blankets.
I remember tying that tight just to act as a tourniquet. And as soon as I did that, I told her friends to get her out of here as fast as possible.
3 miles, 4 miles. I'd say, I don't know, we ran just forever.
We finally got to the medic tent, and there were just people piling in.
We have multiple casualties, GSWs in the medical tent. Multiple casualties.
I was a little concerned when they started talking about the carnage.
I got an officer with a gunshot wound to the neck.
But in my mind, I'm like, oh, Charlie, he's fine.
There's multiple casualties, stage right on the concert floor.
Well, I said something is going on, something big, and then you saw SWAT coming running through with shotguns and get out.
790, I have 2 strike teams, 13 officers total, 2 sergeants.
All units, SWAT can utilize TAC 1. SWAT use TAC 1, it's now open.
724, I have a 4-man element, 29th floor, west side. Control 020.
020, go ahead.
It's going to sit on the suspect's door. I need everybody in that hallway to be aware of it and get back. We need to pop this and see if we get any type of response from this guy and see if he's in here or if he's actually moved out somewhere else.
Copy. All units on the 32nd floor, SWAT has explosive breach. Everyone in the hallway needs to move back. All units move back.
Breach, breach, breach.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Sergeant Jeff Clark with the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department, Office of Public Information. I'm here to give you a very quick briefing as to the situation that is currently unfolding on the Las Vegas Strip. As you're aware, our officers, as well as our partners with multiple agencies, have responded to reports of an active shooter situation at the Mandalay Bay. I can tell you at this time, we do have a suspect down.
Has anybody on the outside heard any further shots? 790, that's negative. Come on.
We have several casualties making their way out of the east entrance at gate 5.
Oh my God. Yeah, wait for me. I can't.
And somebody was yelling that they needed help doing CPR. So I went over to the young lady that he was doing CPR with, and he's doing the chest palpitations, and I was doing the mouth, but she was bleeding out the nose, and she's bleeding all over, and it was just a squishing sound, and then I'd blow in her mouth, and you could hear the gurgle, and when we tried it, and somebody come along and checked for a pulse, and there was nothing.
I came across a woman that was still alive but had taken a fatal shot, and making that decision as to whether or not she was going to be transported or not was a little difficult, knowing that she wasn't going to make it, and I ended up sitting next to her until she took her last breath, because that's the only thing I could do for her at that moment.
She had nobody, there's no friends, nobody standing there was nothing. I held her hand.
Right now, we need your truck. We just need to get people over to the hospital, okay? Okay.
We loaded her along with 2 other people into the back of the truck, and the truck drove away.
There are multiple trucks loading people, injured people, heading to the hospital.
It was the roughest ride ever, and I just remember like, oh my God, just get me to the hospital. Like, all I wanted to do was get to the hospital.
We filled the entire ambulance bay with wheelchairs and gurneys, and then we waited.
NHP to shut down the 15 for medical and all officers going to the hospital.
What I immediately remember is as I was driving down DI, it was eerily quiet, and the fire trucks and ambulances were just speeding by me.
Then you can hear it, out in the distance. You can hear sirens coming.
201, I have 3 critical patients in my vehicle. I'll be taking them to Sunrise. Is there any available vehicles to assist me with keeping traffic out of my way?
First cars to get there were the Metro Patrol cars. They scooped up as many injured as they could. They threw them in the back seat. There was like 2 on the floorboards, 2 in the back. They pull up right next to me, and I kind of flag them down, tell them to stop right here.
I came in and not just ambulances, but there was Uber. I could see Uber cars and Lyft and pickup trucks of patients.
Go straight this way, and you're going to go to hospital. You're doing a good thing. Hang in there, all right?
It started off with, 1 patrol car, then 2, then 3, and then pickup trucks, and then cars and Ubers and taxis.
Get up there.
And next thing you know, there's a line, this traffic jam of cars coming up the driveway up to Sunrise Hospital, just filled with people.
NHP to shut down the I-15 off-ramp to Tropicana.
There was a moment when I said a silent prayer and just said, you know what? We can do this.
So the people who are going to die within seconds or minutes, these are your red tag victims. And then there are the yellow tag victims, or the people who are they'll probably make it through these first few minutes, but they probably shouldn't sit more than an hour, otherwise they'll probably die too. And then there's the green tag victims. Those are the ones who are, the walking wounded. They have a graze wound to the leg, maybe a gunshot wound through the hand. They're not going to die from it within the next few hours. And black tags are people who are dead.
I pushed a lot of bodies into the hallway, and that was something that I've never in my life would think I would have to do.
And unfortunately, there was a good number of them that I pulled out of a car that night that were obviously dead. We broke rules, and we had the pharmacist go down to the pharmacy and grab every vial of those 2 drugs to put people to sleep and drugs to paralyze them.
We got to the hospital. I just remember people just lined up on the walls. I mean, so many people in multiple rooms just packed in blood. I mean, the floors were just covered in blood. I was sitting there and I was having a lot of trouble breathing. So I told Elena, I said, I need you to call Jesse. I need you to call him and I want to talk to him and tell him I love him in case I die. The doctor grabbed my face. Dr. Johnson. And he said, you're gonna f***ing make it. And you're gonna f***ing be here. And you're gonna do this. And then I went under.
She was one of our biggest saves, definitely.
Officer Scott, Mandalay Bay northbound.
On the radio traffic, there began some chatter about off-duty police officer that was killed. And once again, I'm like, nah, Charlie, no way. So I called my boss, who was down at the command post, and I said, can you confirm for me the name? I said, I have a friend that was down there off duty with his wife, and he goes by Charleston Hartfield. She goes, well, I haven't heard of that name. And I'm like, okay, well, can you let me know as soon as you do?
Right now, we believe it's 100 plus injured and 20 plus dead.
Heavenly Father, please protect. Heavenly Father, please protect.
You know, you hear the casualty numbers just go up and up and up, and I know that my mom was hit. I know she was laying there on the floor when I left her, and I don't know her condition. I don't know where she's at. I mean, that was just absolutely terrifying.
Saw families in the hallways. They were just everywhere. I saw was concern, scared looks, not knowing. Very worried.
I knew the other, my colleagues in the other hospitals were probably going through the same thing, and I didn't know how bad it was for them as well.
As a trauma center, you know, we kind of thrive on controlled chaos. That's really the nature of what we do. You know, working in trauma, you always kind of know in the back of your mind this could happen. And so at that moment, I kind of just thought, this is it. This is when we really get to work.
Well, Mary 22, I'm at the UNC with a female with a gunshot wound in the head.
And the wounds were all over the body. They were everywhere. So there was no body part that was spared. They were crashing. And, you know, all the other doctors were busy with other resuscitation, so I ran back there, and they're like, Menace, we need you here. You got to do this one. No, 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 you need you here. You need to do this one. No, 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 I need you on this one. And so I just said, okay, come here. And we would bring all the beds together. All the heads of the beds together, kind of like a flower pattern. I'd be in the center, and then just go to work.
Dr. Menace was actually really good about, we had some kind of system of organization in what seemed like an impossible way to get some organization at the time.
It worked like we had done it before. It was amazing. If you had seen it and you understood kind of what the lingo was and what was happening, I mean, it was like we had done this many times before. It was controlled chaos is the best way I can describe it.
All right, can you hear me okay? Well, good evening. Yeah, I have two police officers that are currently at the hospital, and one of my officers was off duty attending the concert and lost his life.
An hour later, the phone rang. I was like, oh. So I picked it up, and she goes, it was Charlie. I started shaking. Knew right then and there that I was going to have to start processing that this person that was very special to me was no longer with us.
I've never had to be in, to make a makeshift morgue, to have patients in there that we had to identify. And one of them was the police officer from here.
I did go to PACU to check on the nurses that way, and when I went through PACU to see a policemen standing guard, holding the American flag, was surreal. And I knew that he was standing, protecting one of our officers, because the other officers were still standing at attention in the hallway. Took my breath away. Sorry. It's an emotional time.
Everything hit after the adrenaline crashed, and I was sitting there and I was holding it, and it just all kind of crashed over me.
Yeah, it was not what I was expecting for day 3 of the concert.
That was like escape death, man. Just, oh my God. Oh my God. Just escape death.
If you need drinks, water, food, anything, let me know.
I just
whatever you need.
Can't even talk.
The number of people that have died associated with this event has increased. Right now we're using the number of 58. The number of injured, we are using the number of 515.
I got my girlfriend. She's a crime scene investigator, so she got the call around 12:30 that night to go in and start processing that scene. And then when I was en route to the command post, I remember her calling me and her telling me, because her job, naturally, she's seen things that even I, as a police officer, with the time that I have on, can't even process. And when she told me how surreal the scene was and how many bodies there were and that there was still food cooking on the grills.
When I got home, it never, back to the place, we all stayed up that whole day and just watched it over and over on TV and trying to make sense of it, trying to understand it.
There's going to be literally a unique version of this for every single patron at the concert that dealt with this craziness.
The day after the event, I didn't get home till about 8 o'clock the next morning. And we still weren't sure exactly what, or for me, I still didn't exactly fathom what had just happened. I got about 2 hours of sleep that morning. I woke up, did what every person does when they wake up, grabbed their phone, and I made the decision to go onto Facebook real quick. And I started seeing messages that said, "Rest in peace, Cameron." One of my friends was killed. And so I don't know where he was shot. I don't know the details of where he was standing. I know Cameron was probably somebody that was very close to the stage. I never saw Cameron that night.
My fiance opened the door and we just stared at each other. We didn't even say a word, and we just kind of looked at each other, and I was just like, "Can you give me a trash bag?" Because I had blood all over me, and I just kind of went into the shower and stood there for a while. Kind of took it in, and it was, just can't believe something like that could happen, you know.
It was unlike anything I'll ever go through in my life.
At the end, I was completely exhausted. I had never been that exhausted in my entire life. That night, I didn't stop running. You know, I didn't walk. You know, I ran, because if I walked, I might miss somebody, you know, who might be crashing somewhere else. When my mom called, she said, she asked me, and she said, "Hey, were you there? Were you working that night?" And I told her. But she told me how proud she was of me. And I was proud of what we did. You know, I was proud of what the whole hospital did, what the team did, what the city did.
My mom was calling me, and she said, all I can remember her telling me, because everything was so chaotic at the time, the only thing I can remember her telling me is, "Just please come home. Just please come home." That was it.
I broke down when I got home. This was so real, and I just started crying, man.
Nobody kind of even realized, I think, the severity of the situation, what had actually had happened, until we left that morning.
We're thankful we were in the spot we were at. We said that 100 times. Just, we were meant to be in that spot, not somewhere else that day, and not bring the kids. We're just happy to be able to come home to them.
I think it was feeling all those emotions, feeling anger for why it was done in the first place, sadness, crying.
This was definitely a reality call, wake-up call. You think these things never happen, you could happen to you, and you know, when it does, I mean, there's just no words to process it.
I still have my bracelet on because and I don't know, I have it on because it's just till I know it'll get better later. I want, you know, it's helping me out a little by little. It just, if I take it off, it's, how do you explain it? Yeah, I'm letting go right away. I don't want to let go. I want to feel better, but then if I take it off, it feels like I let go of a lot of people that I want to make sure everybody's out of the hospital. Everybody that was injured out of the hospital, okay. As soon as the last person's out of the hospital, I'll take the band off.
I think what's been hardest for the staff is now that it'll never be over, but now that the patients are going home, they're being transported back to their cities, and the next day it was business as usual. And business as usual has a new look about it.
Monday, October 2nd, is a day that's forever changed my life. You know, the operating room is not the same. Still, when I walk in, I still see faces, I still hear cries.
Charlie was so larger than life, because everything that man did, he did for his wife and son and daughter.
That night, in a hail of gunfire, Charlie's last actions spoke for him. He shielded, protected, and shepherded people to safety. he took actions to save lives.
I just could not process that a little teeny tiny bullet would find its mark and drop this giant of a man.
Charlie was the kind of man that gave this agency heart.
He's a mentor, a coach, he's professional. More importantly, First Sergeant Hartfield, he epitomizes everything good about being an American.
This loss of what was truly an exceptional human being.
Knowing Chucky and having him as a friend made me a better person.
And then I was taken back to his family because I know how much he loved them and wanted to protect them and wanted to ensure that they had everything that he probably didn't have growing up in order to be able to ensure their success.
I'm proud of you. I love you. I looked up to you. Even though I'm older, I looked up to you.
I think the first thing that I would have said to Charlie is that if there was any way I could have taken his spot, I would have. I'll spend the rest of my life trying to do right by him and honor his name, his memory, and his legacy.
One thing I do know that something good is going to come up from this. One thing I do know is something good has already transpired from this. And brother, again, I love you and I miss you, but this is not the last time.
Number 008. May he rest in peace.
You know, I don't know if I have words to describe what we're going through and what these poor, unfortunate victims are going through. We're angry, we're grieving, we're confused, people are hurting.
So right up till the end of their life, it was a beautiful time for them, right up to the end. And it's not going to help the survivors, the people that are there. It's not going to take away their pain, but they need to know that their family had fun right to the end.
And I think it's important for people to know that anyone that died out there didn't die alone.
My wife was a great person. She was very active in the church, brought up my 3 kids. And my 8-year-old daughter's at home right now. I don't know how I'm gonna tell her. I have no idea. She loved her mommy so much.
We struggle for the words to explain to our children how such evil can exist, how there can be such cruelty and such suffering. But we cannot be defined by the evil that threatens us or the violence that incites such terror. We're defined by our love, our caring, and our courage. In the darkest moments, what shines most brightly is the goodness that thrives in the hearts of our people.
Dear God, watch over our mommy, and we hope she's having a great time with you, and we hope that she sees Brookie have a long, wonderful life, and she will think about you every single day. Right? Amen.
You know what? We're going to win this. We're going to win over anything. It doesn't matter what it is. We're going to win. We're strong. United, we're strong.
We have hope. You know, that people won't always be, you know, all the hate and crime and everything. Just tell him what happened when he's older. where we were and when he was born, the next, 24 hours or so later.
Between the first, responders, nurses, families, Las Vegans, everyone, it's been the most amazing thing I've ever seen in my entire existence.
It's not just, they went through a tragedy and Vegas is strong. No, this is real actions that occurred, after a huge tragedy like this. Everybody stepping up to be the hero that's inside them.
Hey, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good.
I don't even remember what, did you carry me? There was so much going on.
So I went up to you after. I went up to you and people were already putting pressure on you. So I would check the wound. I was making sure you were breathing. You told me your name, and I just kept asking you how is your breathing? And you're like, I'm breathing good. I'm breathing good. So we loaded you up into the ambulance and we went to the hospital. We carried you. I put you on the nurse's bed, and I was running in with them to the ER, explaining what was going on, giving a little quick scenario. So, and then I remember the last thing you said to me was, I can breathe better if you sit me up. So we sat you up, and then you went to the trauma bay.
Thank you. It's just amazing to me, everybody who was a part of saving my life. So, thank you.
You're welcome. I'm glad you're okay.
Yeah.
Everybody came together that night.
These man-made mass casualty incidents, they really are the absolute worst of humanity and what humanity has to offer, but they also bring out the best of humanity.
As far as I'm concerned, the shooter isn't even involved. We just think about what we did and the families and the patients and everything else that was involved. It's not even a blink of an eye or a blink of a whatever. That's not part of it. We think about what was involved that night and who we took care of. Families, patients, Las Vegans, first responders, who took care of those people that night. Everyone there at that concert. That was what was as important.
I think it's pretty freaking awesome. I'm pretty proud of my city right now.
This is the biggest outpouring that I've ever seen.
I made friends with all the people inside, and we've been talking and getting to know each other and just sort of comforting each other and sort of finding a way to get through this together as a community. This is great.
There's a lot of heart in Las Vegas. It's not really Sin City like everybody likes to say. It's a wonderful association of caring people who live here, raise their families, and make this town a town with a great heart.
Vegas isn't made of just made of glitz and glamour, that there are people here, and there's a lot of different type of people, and they all came together for one thing, and it's just, I think, an overwhelming sense of proudness of the city, and you're proud to be here, be a part of this community.
Our God is greater, our God is stronger, God, you are higher than any other. Our God is healer, awesome in power, our God is greater.
Quite often, we're the ones that go in when everybody's running the other way, and then in case in point, this event, that's exactly what occurred. And we asked the officers who are well trained to address these type of events, active shooter events. But this is different than anything they've trained for because the active shooter is unreachable. So our intent is life safety. That's our first priority in law enforcement, and I'm very proud of what our officers did.
To see how this community came together so quickly just absolutely reaffirmed for me the reasons why I became a police officer.
Welcome, Sergeant William Mott, Officer Tyler Peterson, Officer Levi Hancock, Sergeant Josh Bitsko.
Not many places I think could have come together like this and then do that. And then to see like these entertainers and the hockey team taking a having that ceremony in the opening game. I mean, these are people who are wanting to highlight what we do.
Dr. Syed Sakib, Dr. Michael Chang, Nurse Destiny Andrade.
First responders and what they've done, it's their finest hour. Their finest hour.
To all the brave first responders that have worked tirelessly and courageously throughout this whole tragedy, we thank you.
Las Vegas always steps up in time of need, and they're showing it once again. And the need is real. I mean, we're going through a lot of blood when you talk about 500 people in ER rooms. You're going through a tremendous amount of blood, and that need will continue. And then we've also started a GoFundMe page. We've got 500 people that have got to have families coming into town. They need plane tickets. Burial expenses are going to have to be paid, and we've set up an account, and people have been extremely generous.
People, complete strangers, wanting to donate blood so we can save some more people. People donating food, giving it to hospitals, saying thank you. That's what a strong community is.
I'm so glad that Las Vegas came through and not only is being known Sin City, but we're a city of compassion. We're a city of love.
We love Las Vegas, and by God, we're Vegas strong too.
I mean, this is awesome. I'm very proud of the Las Vegans. Very proud. Vegas strong, Sunrise strong, everything. It's just amazing. I'm proud to be a Las Vegan.
There are thousands of heroes that night, and no one could have saved all of these people by themselves, but as a community, we saved all of these people from this tragedy.
It's difficult when people come up to me and hug me and say, "You're a hero," or "You call me a hero," because I don't know how to respond to that. It's not why I got into this job. It's not what I signed up for. I didn't sign up to sit behind cameras or in front of cameras. I signed up to serve my community, to help my community.
By no means do I feel like a hero. By no means do I feel like I should get some special treatment or be treated differently. I'm just human.
No, no. The staff was heroes. The team, I could say the team's a hero. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Because none of us could have done it alone.
The sheer amount of thank yous is a lot of good, and that in itself kind of, it means a lot.
I heard there were patients that are victims that ran into bars and were protected, and those are heroes, because all those people in those restaurants or bars, they could have ran home, but they didn't. They stayed there to take care of all these strangers.
You know what? Everybody pulls together. Whether you were the person that driving the truck that hauled people to the hospital, whether you're the person that helped out the bodies with the people, whether you were the person that, as you were leaving, you grabbed somebody and helped get them out of there. You were the two guys that helped my wife off the fence. You were strong then.
We got through it. I'm just thankful that everybody of my crew got out
you know, and I'm so proud of them, how brave they were, you know, going back in there every single time to just try and help one more person, you know, try and save one more life.
Do you feel like a hero?
No. I don't feel like a hero. Not a hero. I do what I do because I love what I do.
A lot of people call you a hero.
I know that. I love what I do. I'm not a hero.
What are you?
I'm Cynthia Stetham, RN.
We witnessed one of the worst tragedies in American history. Like everyone, I'm struggling to understand what happened that night and how to pick up the pieces and start to heal. So many people are hurting. There are children, parents, brothers, sisters, friends. They're all part of our family. So I want to say to them, we hurt for you and we hurt with you. But you can be sure that we're going to walk through these tough times together every step of the way. Because when America is at its best, our bond and our spirit, it's unbreakable.
You can't let fear win.